Music Theory Monday number 7. All right. This is going to get crazy because what chord is this? What note is that on the 2nd fret on the low E? It's a bar chord. F sharp. We are in the key of F sharp, which is going to get nuts because there's 6 sharps in here. We're going to have a new term, enharmonic, which I'll explain. So let's do the playing part first. Then I'll hop on the iPad. We'll do a close-up of the little layer of the circle of fifths. Then we'll write out the whole scale, and we'll connect the dots for you in your head. So here's what we're going to do. F sharp has 6 sharps. So let's just run the major scale. And then what we're going to do is we're going to do a 1, we'll do a 4, 6, 4, back to 1 chord progression. Because in the end, all of this is so that we can make music and have a deeper understanding of it, right? So drop any questions. If you're new, hit that subscribe button. We'd love to keep your channels growing so fast. Welcome to Team Jellyfish. All right, so F sharp. So we're gonna run the scale in 2 spots, okay? Now, remember, this isn't really a guitar lesson. This is a Music Theory Monday lesson. So we're gonna go through this part kind of quicker. I'll fill in the gaps with other videos throughout the week. Now, F sharp has 6 sharps, like I said. Now, there's gonna be one part that's gonna get a little weird, but I'll explain it. So F sharp, G sharp, A sharp, B, no sharp, just B, okay? C sharp, D sharp. Now, here's where it gets weird. E sharp, back to F sharp. So E sharp is the 7, right? Now, why do we do that as E sharp? Because I know some of you know that there's no sharp or flat between E and F and B and C. So you're like, how is there an E sharp? Well, think of it like this. We just need consecutive note names. So E sharp, and here comes that weird term, enharmonic. It's an enharmonic note, which means it has 2 names. It has actually an F, right? So E sharp is F. Now, the reason we did that is because we just needed to do, you know, an F, a G, A, B, C, D, E, and an F note. Like, we need those names. But in this case, there's 6 sharps. So it's F sharp, G sharp, A sharp, B, C sharp, D sharp, E sharp, and then F sharp. So don't get too hung up on that, okay? You're gonna have light bulb moments or aha moments on guitar forever. I have them 30 years later, I'm still having them. And that's kind of the cool part of it too. Now here's another just kind of pattern to run the scale. Do it here too. F sharp, G sharp, A sharp, B, C sharp, D, E sharp, I keep messing that up, or F, enharmonic, F sharp, okay? Da, 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 or here. Da, 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 da. Okay, now let's get to the making music part. And then I'll go to the iPad. There's chapters in here so you can jump around. I'll put the playlist for Music Theory Monday number 1 all the way through this one. Now, we said we were going to do a 1, okay? A 4, and a 6, and back to the 4, and back to the 1. Meaning F sharp, now the 4 would be B, and then the 6 is D sharp minor, back to B, and then F sharp. Now, again, enharmonic, let's just do a little test for you, right? See if you can answer this. If I'm on the minor, D sharp minor, what would be the enharmonic equivalent to that? What's another way we could say that? Well, we could also call E flat minor. D sharp minor and E flat minor are the same thing. Now, it's all dependent upon which musical family you're hanging out in, you know? So that's why certain keys are just used more so than often. But F sharp is one of my favorite notes. So let's just do this. What if we did some triads? Okay, you guys know those are all over the channel, 3 notes. So let's just do the 1 chord as a triad. We'll do the 4 chord, B, and then we'll do D sharp minor back to B, okay? And I'm building out a whole triad list in this, so don't worry. So what if we went like this, something like a little arpeggiated part, like, right? To the 6, back to the 4 chord, which is B. Now let me show you something. This kind of dawned on me when I was writing this part for you. Watch how cool this is. So this is F sharp triad, right? F sharp, A sharp, C sharp. See how I hammer that C sharp on and off to the open B? Why does that work so well? Why does that sound so nice? Listen. Well, because B is in the key. Look, 1, 2, 3, 4. B's right there. That's the 4. There's no, right? So now you could do the full chord now. Let's do the F sharp to the B to the full chord. 6, back to the 4, and back to the 1. And then I'm gonna hop over to the iPad. Like I said, there's bookmark chapters in here, so you can kind of piecemeal it all together in your head and just let it soak in. It's not going to happen in one day. So maybe we do something like this. I'm just running the progression. 1, 4, minor 6, 4 to the 1. All right, so the reason it's so important to learn this music theory stuff is so at least if you want to have a starting point to like work on something and get there much quicker, this is going to help you so much. And it's actually a lot of fun once you start going, oh, aha, all over. You start connecting the dots. Because we're going to keep moving around the wheel, and you're going to see when we go to the next fifth away, remember the circle of fifths as we go around the wheel, you're going to see we're going to flip over to the flats. You're going to even have aha moments for that. But in your head for now, just don't let it get too twisted up. So we're going to hop over to the iPad in just a minute. I'm going to show you the small layer for the key of F sharp. And then we're going to hop over to the second page on the iPad. I'm going to do this full screen for you, just like the other Music Theory Mondays. And we're going to go through the F sharp scale just to kind of further cement that in your head and help you connect those dots. But, you know, once you watch this video, just go to the bookmark chapter in this video where I show you the F sharp scale and see if you can come up with your own chord progression. Maybe you do a 1 minor 3 5, so that would be F sharp. The minor 3 would be A sharp, right? Minor, and then maybe you go to the 5, which is C sharp, right? And then back. So you create your own progressions. In this case, we did a 1 4 minor 6 4. All right, let's hop over to the iPad. Let's keep connecting the dots. Drop any questions you have. Hit that like button so we can get this out to the world and help as many people as possible. But you don't have to know this stuff. No, amazing, great guitar players would have no clue even what they're doing. It's just your ears will always be your #1 asset. So just stick to that and we'll fill in the rest over time and just keep at it. So here we go. All right, so there was a lot to unwind in this key. So let's just do this real quick. We're gonna take this slice of the circle of fifths, one layer, and in this case, we're working in the key of F sharp here in the top right. All right, and then over here, we have the key written out, and then I also wanted to put a little slice of the piano here for you. So I got this piano right here. We're gonna help this make even more sense. But let's go over here first. So at the very least, I want you to memorize that there are 6 sharps in the key of F sharp. F sharp, C sharp, G sharp, D sharp, A sharp, E sharp. All right, and we actually did a little chord progression. We did the 1 4 6 4 1 chord progression. In the end, that's what all this is about. Now, see this fancy word I wrote in blue? That was that word I was talking about, enharmonic. So F sharp and G flat, which I have here on the circle of fifths, as circled in yellow, and I wrote it in the top right. Those are the same thing, but we just kind of had to pick a key. And the reason I did that is we're moving around each week in intervals of perfect fifths. That's the distance between 2 notes. We started with the key of C. I decided, well, let's just stick with F sharp. So obviously what we're doing now is we're going from F sharp to C sharp. That is your perfect fifth interval for this week. So let's write it in the middle. So the 1 chord would be F sharp. The 5 chord would be C sharp. So F sharp to C sharp would be a perfect fifth interval. Again, now how does this help you in your playing? Well, find that interval. Go play an F sharp bar chord. Find the F sharp, find the C sharp, and just play the distance between, play that interval, a perfect fifth. See what that sounds like. That's where you really start moving up in the world of music, is when you start piecing all these elements together. Now, if we look at the bottom of the key again, F sharp, you see how I put G flat in the parentheses? That's the enharmonic equivalent, which is why on page 2 here in a minute, I'm going to show you the piano. I'm going to explain why I put that on there. It's just going to help you visualize it, map it out in your head a little more. And we've all looked at a piano at some point in our lives. Even if we're not musicians, we've seen a piano. It makes logical sense. Guitar is a tricky beast. It's just not laid out the same. But slowly we can connect the dots. All right, so F sharp has 6 sharps. F sharp, C sharp, G sharp, D sharp, A sharp, E sharp. And I remember in college, my classical guitar teacher said, fine classical guitarists demand accurate execution. And then there's one more sharp. Now, could we have attacked this as a G flat and written that out? Of course we could, but I'm trying to move around the wheel in the interval of fifths just to keep helping you connect the dots. But we'll probably bounce all over just to make it make sense. So F sharp, the 1, C sharp, the 5, and then just you're going to see these sharps in the key written out. So enharmonic, there's your fancy word of the day. Now let's make that make even more sense. Now you see here at the top, before we get to the piano, I wrote out, just like last week, I'm trying to write out the numbers too. So you see 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. And I told you, a lot of the Nashville people, you hear the Nashville numbering system, they just speak in the terms of numbers. So if they're like, hey, I want to play a 1, 1, 4, 6, 4 back to 1 chord progression, you're just going to know F sharp, B, D sharp, B, F sharp, okay? So that is the progression. But let's map it out even further. So down here, pay attention. I'm very consistent. I wrote out the Roman numerals for you. I'll kind of circle those in orange. The 1 chord is major. Now, the 2 chord is minor, hence the lowercase Roman numerals in the different color. 3 chord is minor. And look at their 3 sharps, F sharp, G sharp, A sharp. The 4 chord is B. The 5 chord is C sharp, major. The 6 chord is D sharp, minor. And then the 7 chord is E sharp, half diminished, minor 7, flat 5. Now there's where that trickiness comes in, that E sharp. I just did one more thing, and listen, if this is overloading your brain, just keep rewatching this and really pay attention to what I'm saying, or see if you can write it out and make sense. Sometimes you need to do that. I wrote out the formula for a major scale, and the W just stands for a whole step. So from the 1 chord, from the 1 chord to the 2 chord, you have to do a whole step, right? So I'll just kind of highlight that for you. Okay. So, and then the 2 chord to the 3 chord is a whole step. So F sharp to G sharp is a whole step. G sharp to A sharp is a whole step. Then we have to do a half step. So A sharp to B is a half step. And then we need to do a whole step. So B to C sharp is a whole step. Because B to C would be a half step, but we need it to be a whole step. And then we have to do a whole step, C sharp to D sharp. Now here's another reason why it has to be an E sharp, okay? Because we have to do another whole step. If you went D sharp to just E, that's a half step. So we need a whole step, so hence E sharp. And again, it has to be laid out with each note name. Just don't get too hung up on the E sharp thing. Now let's look at the piano. I thought this would be cool. Now I wrote this out just from C to C, but I really wanted you to see on the black keys, great band by the way, you see how I have the 2 note names. Those are enharmonic equivalents. So a C sharp is a, let me do this in white. This would be a good time to use white. So C sharp to, of course now my highlighter doesn't want to work, but anyways, C sharp and D sharp are the same notes. D sharp and E flat are the same notes. F sharp and G flat are the same. G sharp and A flat are the same. Okay? And then you have, what else we got? We got A sharp and B flat. So you see all these? These are enharmonic equivalents. Now today we are working in the key of F sharp. Now do notice here, if you look, there is no black key between E and F and B and C, okay? So that's where people get confused. They're like, well, why is it E sharp? It's just because we have to keep everything organized for the key that we're in, all right? So at the end, just go in here, look at the bookmarks, restudy all the parts. Let's go back to the page 1. Just the takeaways you want to have are F sharp, C sharp, G sharp, D sharp, A sharp, E sharp. It's a lot of sharps, 6 sharps. So 6 sharps in the key of F sharp. There would be 6 flats in the key of G flat. Maybe you go over and study it as if you're playing in the key of G flat. That's up to you. You're the one writing the song. You're the one composing the piece of music. So that's how you have to map it out in your head. So next week, I'll figure it out. We'll see if we can either do D flat or C sharp. Maybe we'll write out on this page both scales, right? So obviously, start familiarizing yourself with the equivalents, okay? So we did a 1 chord progression in the very beginning of this video, and that was F sharp. And then we went to the 4 chord, and that was B. And then I went to the minor 6, that's super important, which is D sharp. And then we went back to the 4 chord, and then we went back to the 1 chord. So just create different chord progressions in here, all right? And I will say too, in the middle of this wheel, you'll see too, on the inside here, let me just highlight it. One more piece of information for you before you go. If we go, we'll just do it in yellow. These are the relative minor keys, okay? That's super important, relative minor keys. So I want you to know that D sharp minor is the relative minor, or the 6th chord to F sharp. If you were in the key of G flat, you wouldn't say, oh, it's D sharp minor. You'd say it's E flat minor. Again, I know this stuff can be confusing, but just stick with me. I'm going to help you connect the dots, all right? You got this. So drop a like, drop any questions. I love when you guys help each other. Music's a journey. You're not going to know it all. Keep learning. Check out this linked playlist here. Here's one on triads I'm going to keep building out. You guys got this. All right, so Music Theory Monday number 8, which I'll drop. I will be on the beautiful island of Kauai on a surf trip. So maybe I should find a ukulele or something. All right, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button if you're new, and keep going. Drop your favorite sea creature. Oh yeah, drop where you're watching this from. I love learning that about all you guys. Have an amazing day, and let's keep this thing rolling. See ya.